we would be levying 17.7108, which would give us a balance of 772. If our truth in taxation millage gain is 0.2424, which would make the Headley maximum amount of 17.9532, which would add 10,588 to that total. Just that we have to do that, or we have to do the lesser of those two. Where we're at with that. So we have, that would just be on the non-homestead operating.
Minutes. We've got the minutes from the June 10th open. And also June 16th. 18th.
8th.
And the 16th.
16th and 8th.
16th and 8th.
And the 15th?
We've got a motion by Cory, support by Chuck. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Jackie?
Yeah, I've been asked to speak a little bit about the letter that went out yesterday via staff email as well as on the webpage. Just kind of talking a little bit about where we are and where we want to go. Over the past few weeks, there's been a lot of concern, and many of us have met administration, community members, board members, to just kind of get together and get reunited and figure out where we need to go from here. You can see from the agenda that we're going to be approving a couple of loans, short-term loans, to help us get through. As of right now, we've received 2 bids, correct, John?
We have received one
bid for the short-term loan.
But the other one the guy is coming tomorrow to handle it.
And it was a July 1 deadline, so we feel very confident with securing that short-term loan, which will help with the summer cash flow problem. And then with the state aid note that we'll be receiving in August, which is similar to that we took out last year, we will be able to cover the September and October expenses. So then the district will be on the right path, doors will be open. The board is committed to making change. Of course, we're still seeking out 3 new board members. Many of the community members I've had conversation with, those who have submitted their letters, very eager, excited, willing to take classes provided by MASB. We know that we need to start having committee meetings and be more diligent and up to date with what's happening, more up to date with Michigan school law, and so on and so forth. And of course, going forward too, we want to continue. I know we had talked about doing a vision committee meeting this evening, but that is not happening, correct? That's kind of tabled.
The recommendation is going to be to select a committee, because I don't think we'd get anything really done with a whole large group of people. We're looking to get 2 to 3 community members, 2 to 3 teachers, 2 board members, and a couple administrators, and that they would be the committee that would solicit information on how to do this strategic plan.
So,
And anybody that would like to be considered for the strategic plan, simply send a letter to the school, drop it off at the office.
What's the office hours, till noon, the high school?
2:30.
2:30?
elementary standard. So that's kind of where we are. And
What if you get more than you expected? You're keeping, you're got this number kind of, I think, kind of small. What if you have quite a few that are interested? You're not going to turn them away, are you? If there's like, let's say there's 10 people that want to be on this committee, they have a lot of knowledge, we're not going to turn them away because we want a certain number? Or
No.
okay, I just question. All right.
But you got to keep it down somehow so it's manageable.
Yeah.
You
But
can't
these
have
are
50, 60 people on it.
no, I'm not saying that. But if you've got a little more than you maybe expected, and if they got
Well,
some
yeah,
major
10 or
knowledge.
15, I mean, or even you go 60 if
Yeah.
you got one more.
Okay, I'm just curious.
And to piggyback on what Gretchen said, I've been working diligently with those banks to get them to bid. And it's going to work. I'm confident that we have 2 of them for sure. So, and that money will be in by the 10th of July.
Any bills?
We got current year, and then we also have new year. The new year, we are a couple of bills because we have to pay our insurance for the building, which is due July 1, and then also our student insurance, which they have to have by July 1.
What is this telephone? The telephone, John, what's that for?
That's our high-speed internet through Comcast that we are going to be deleting now that we have the Bloomingdale communication one. We had to bump up to the Bloomingdale communication one so that we could do the state testing, but we didn't want to drop off the Comcast until we were sure that the Bloomingdale one was going to deliver.
What about the CenturyLink? What's that?
The one?
The one on the very
At the
bottom.
bottom.
That's our regular one.
But this is for services that we've already received, right?
Mhm.
Comcast is between So when are we going to cancel that? This summer? Or?
Yes.
It's canceled. They take 60 days to close.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to pay the bills.
Support. Got a motion by Chuck, support by Mike. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Comments from the public? Chuck and Mike.
I'll go first. Cody Caswell, I'm the head football coach. Due to all the financial turmoil facing the district, I want to put one falsified opinion to rest with actual facts from what I heard last time. I went through 2011 and 2012 when we were 11-man and compared it to 2013, 2014, and compared all the numbers to see. It was said that we had a fortune going out to the switch from 11-man to 8-man. And that is not true. The difference is $1,390, which averages out to $695 a year. So the difference was not there. Also, we self-transported looking for zero money back from the school when we did this as well. So we have self-transported with parents and that kind of thing to games to help in saving money. And going from that, for me, a fortune is not $1,390 over 2 years. And this is going from mileage differences and driver costs and everything that figures into. I wanted to make sure I had facts. If you guys would like this or would like a copy of this, I can bring this up to you or email it to you. The other difference was that in that our kids were able to play in 7 more football games, have the playoff atmosphere to be a part of, along with a state championship and 2 regional championships. So if $1,300, you kind of look at those things and allowing a kid to have a lifetime of memories, I don't believe that that is a fortune. I believe that that is something that most kids don't get to experience, and our kids can experience that with the enrollment size that we have at this school. But again, I have the numbers and the figures and have...
Could you send that to everybody for me?
Sure, I'd be more than happy to.
Because last time we didn't have figures.
I know, and that's what, when I heard that I went, man, opinions are opinions and fact are fact. I said, so I'll go and I'll research it and I'll get everything and figure everything out to make sure that this is more than an opinion. And this is all numbers put down.
Numbers are much better than opinion.
Yes, and so I got gas costs with the mileage difference on there. I have driver costs and everything like that with the differences on there.
Does that count the field rental too?
Yep, that's all figured in there. I got all the gate receipts and everything, or the gate papers from Mr. Adams to put this together, along with how much it costs for busing and everything from James. So I just wanted to make sure I brought this to the attention that we are not costing us a fortune in the football realm, even though I believe there's much more bigger things to worry about than our football program, but I just wanted to...
The kids would argue with you.
Yeah, so I just wanted to bring that up. So also
but it's nice to have, we like the numbers.
Yes.
We like the information.
Yeah, and I'll be more than happy to send these to you guys and make sure you guys get these when needed.
He asked me to step in if you forgot anything in regards to the Wisconsin game that was mentioned for this year. This happening week 7. We had a team that dropped us because they joined a league in the north, and then with due diligence by the athletic director and head football coach, both found a game fitting into state rules. We could play any team as long as our borders touch. Wisconsin was one selection. The contact was made, and between the athletic directors, they chose a neutral site which is 4.5 hours away from here,
Right around 4 hours.
which is real close to the exact same miles and time as we have driven to go to the Thumb to play at least 4 times. And while he and I talked about it, the transportation to Wisconsin was not going to fall upon the school initially. In fact, we have not discussed that at all. Immediately it was self-transport. So that was going to fall upon the shoulders of the coaches and the parents to self-transport to Wisconsin. So again, and/or hopefully fundraise for it. So again, opinions of where we're going and how much it's costing us behind the scenes as a football staff led by our football coach and athletic director. Decisions are being made to minimize the cost to the schools because we know the travel expense. And to piggyback that as well, every time a coach and parent has self-transported an athlete, we have not turned in any type of gas receipt to be reimbursed. For myself, I know that for a fact out of the 11 games that we played in 2013, am I right? The 11 games we played in 13. I personally self-transported an athlete, never once turned in a cost receipt for gas. And that is going to the Thumb once, Battle Creek twice, with no intention to, even with going to Wisconsin. So the opinions of we are costing the school a fortune, the numbers are there, and we are personally, as a staff, as an athletic department, making sure that we do not make that mistake. So, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And Cody, I'd like to congratulate you on your Coach of the Year.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's a great feat.
Tom, I want to piggyback off of Aaron and Cody on that as well. I wasn't able to attend the meeting where it was brought up that the coaches don't participate in the fundraiser at the golf outing. I want to make sure everybody understands that I have done that for years and years and years. Sponsored a hole, sat on a hole, and sponsored a team to play in it. So I want to make sure everybody understands that that's erroneous information.
Well, I don't think it was put out that no coaches.
If you weren't here, Dale, I'm the one that made a statement.
I know you were, and
I said some coaches.
No, you said
and I said John
no coaches.
Cook. Okay.
No coaches, you said.
No.
And
I said some
that's wrong.
coaches and John Cook.
No, you said none.
Okay.
No coaches. And again, baseball and softball, I know that we self-transport to save money. So. And in addition to that, I'd like to mention our baseball field was voted number 3 in the state. This year, I didn't see any big splashes in the paper or local media, but those are the kind of things that the school board, I really think, needs to get a hold of media and let them know the good things that are going on. 3rd in the state out of 600 fields.
Well, Dale, we are starting to have the media attend our meetings again, which is a good thing.
Well, from what I saw from the media reports, it wasn't too good the last few meetings.
Well,
but anyway, again, on the baseball program, the baseball program, Tom and Jim, that we put in over $9,000 in press boxes that the school did not pay for. They paid for electronic equipment. We put in $4,000 of fencing out there. The school didn't pay for it. We raised the funds for it. And there's new baseball covers on home plate and a baseball pitching mound that we haven't had that we paid for. It's about $1,500. So,
who paid for it?
Yes, we have.
I said who paid for it?
Myself and the team, we raised the money.
And how much did the boosters throw into all that stuff?
Into those things, nothing.
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 Okay. I'll have to back check the records. I don't
Please
think
check.
you're right.
Please check. And I haven't asked you for uniforms.
We helped pay for Clay, that was it.
I haven't. You helped for that.
That was
with the
it.
school board.
I can tell you that.
Yep.
I'm the secretary.
And I haven't asked you for any uniforms because I don't like to go in with a bent knee and have to beg for things. So we paid for those too.
Thank you, Bill. Any other comments?
Well, yes. I guess I got to say it because people are being quiet. I went and got all the audits from the state over the last few years after what was said last week. The 2013-2014 audit reports clearly show that the school's fund balance is declining at an unsustainable rate. 2014 audit showed that an estimated ending balance would be $144,000. This shows a drop of over $1 million in 2 years. Both 2013 and 14 published school budgets reflected planned losses of $445,000 and $550,000. Yet last week, board members said they were not aware of budget problems. Clearly, board members had failed to meet the responsibilities and obligations of the oath of the office. What I found as I looked at these again was what was said. We had been very stable. 2012, there had been no budget appropriations from the fund balance that the auditors had included. But in 2014, to make up for the deficit budget, the official state budget shows an appropriation of $405,000. Well, it's $405,939. 2014, that was 13-14, they show another budget appropriation of $550,000, $441,000 to make things meet. Now take those two numbers and you got $1 million, and you start with $1,165,000. It was really clear what was going on. I mean, and why weren't changes made 3 years ago? And what was the change that happened? I will say that prior to that, there had been a very good job of keeping that fund balance up at over $1 million. There had been a point in time about 10 years ago or 12 years ago where it really dipped. And John, when you first came in, I know that it did get back up over to $1 million, I think, fairly quickly. It was sustained there fairly well. And then all of a sudden, 3 years ago, 2012, 2013, it just started to go boom. And then within 2 years, you lost close to $1 million of it. Why? And how can you say you didn't know? I mean, it was, and the budget shows that you budgeted for those losses. The ones that I got off the web, and there was an error in the first one that was on the web. Thank you for the spreadsheet, John. It's corrected now. Because I think we ended this year, I don't know where we're at. The numbers have changed a little bit again, but what about $150,000 in the fund balance? Is that going to be about where it's going to be?
Projected for next year, 198.
For this year, right now. You have left it now.
15, 16.
So cash in the fund balance at this point in time is around $150,000.
Around 190.
For the end of the current, Gene, I think it's 144.
Where did it end at?
I think it was 144.
No, it was.
Oh, is this wrong then? Because it says 191,000
Yeah.
and that says the 29, so.
Was it 198? I think they're not.
191, 614. Shows excess of 541, 255.
That's not excess, that's deficiency if you have it in red.
Right, deficiency. Okay.
Right.
But then we take our fund balance that we had, 732.89. That covers that, and then we have 191, 614.
So I'm hardly hearing from what I see from the audit reports, we should be setting with a fund balance in that area, 150 to 191 right now. Your losses on, thanks for the spreadsheet. Again, these I know they change because the budget things to get adjusted. You had forecasted for 14 and 15 some pretty big losses, I know, and they ended up actually being $541,000. So they're pretty accurate with what the auditors were saying the 2 years before. So I'm trying to figure out, I don't have a new budget. I don't know if that's been passed. You have to pass a balanced budget. I'm trying to figure out where in the heck you're going to get enough. You got about 100 and some thousand in your fund balance. Where are you going to get the 100 and 300 and some $1,000 to pass a legal budget today? It has to be balanced. It can't be a deficit budget. Where's the money coming from?
We're not going to be losing 300,000.
You lost 541 according to the numbers I'm looking at last year, $541,000.
Correct. But that is the year end there. Take our fund equity that we have now.
Right.
And that leaves us 198,524.
And the auditors are going to want to show any money you're borrowing from that again as that number I was giving you before, because you were borrowing from that to the tune of about $1 million over 2 years. That's a lot of money to make up, and if your student population doesn't grow, which we talked about that last week, that it had dropped. Last year I think you gained a couple. You had lost 44 the year before by the state published numbers. How do you accommodate for that? I mean, you're going to have some wiggle room, plus you're going to have some growth here to build that back up, or you're not going to survive because expenses are going to go up.
That is true.
It's pretty clear. I mean, once I saw those audit reports and I saw, oh, well, that's where they got the money. 450 and 550, whatever those numbers were. Why weren't changes made when you saw those kind of losses? All of a sudden, 2012, 2013, from being balanced and staying over $1 million in that, suddenly monies were being taken from that for operating costs. That's a pretty large increase in 2 years.
As I said last week, one of the things that we have been told or want from the community is they want us to continue to have programs, lots of different programs, and in order to do that we had to keep staff, and we didn't make any staff cuts those years. So it was a decision that made it so that we could try and be, quote, competitive, alluring to other people that didn't know.
But you knew that you were adopting a budget that had over a $500,000 deficit last year and over $400,000 deficit the year before. And it didn't work because it got worse. And then we found ourselves into the beginning of this month and there still wasn't a plan in place. There was no dialogue about how you were going to take care of this so that you can move forward as a school district. That's what concerns me.
And that's what we got this committee going, and we're going to get there.
And forgive me, I'd rather have somebody yelling at me because I've cut something that we had to cut for the best of the community than to take the community down the drain. I'd be the first one to leave if I were going to be costing the community a lot of money. And I'm just a little confused as to, you could see those numbers and what the writing was on the wall on that, and really confused as to why after that 2012, 2013, what really happened where suddenly you couldn't keep that fund balance in a safe area where you had done a good job before that. I didn't necessarily agree with board decisions sometimes because I still am pro-teachers, and some of the cuts I didn't agree with, but just the same, you managed to keep it. And then all of a sudden, boom, it's gone. I'm not quite sure how, where the responsibility is there. I find that very troubling. Also, is it legal to pass a deficit food services budget? Because you did last year. It appears to be the budget was a deficit budget. Is there anything I'm concerned about? It showed a deficit.
No, you can, because as long as there is money in the general fund that covers it.
For the food services, okay.
John, what programs were you speaking of that cost to keep the staff up and running? What programs were that?
Just simply staffing. We didn't lay off any teachers in the last 2 years.
Right, but you said something about the community wanted these programs to continue.
They wanted a lot of classes for the high schoolers, more classes, and so we've done AP classes, a couple of the aquatics class or whatever it is. That's the day. Marine biology.
Did you add staffing though? I mean, teaching staff to do that? You didn't add additional teachers that I saw.
Well, no, we didn't add additional teachers.
Because I could see where that would be $70,000, $80,000 for a first-year teacher with benefits and everything. I don't know what that cost ends up being, but there was no teachers, so it's still a lot of money to draw.
Well,
you added them by.
Couple that with our student loss.
Well, yeah.
If your payroll stays at the same level and you lose the amount of money that you're getting.
Yeah, 44 a couple of years ago. That's a like we guessed last week, about 300 grand, times 2 is 600 grand of the money, but you still dropped by about another 450 grand, so money was being spent someplace and stuff. Wasn't leaking. The heat didn't go up that much, I don't think.
We bought a bus.
You bought a bus.
You gotta go back and find out exactly what the increase cost was.
And I think that's one of the main things that you need to do is pinpoint what happened. And nobody seems to have a clear explanation of that, or you're not sharing that with us. Pinpoint what happened, so when those things start happening again, those same mistakes aren't made. Red flags go up and say, oh, wait a minute, we've been down this road before. We need to make some tough decisions, and if we need to cut, we need to cut. Has the board decided to maybe put a committee together for this? Do you guys seem to think that this is a major issue and maybe a committee should be?
We have a finance committee.
Yeah, we got finance.
Okay, so who's on the finance committee?
Well, right now the committees are all going to change because we're going to get 3 new board members. So the committees that we've had in the past, and let's throw out the window because we're going to have all new ones. So I don't know if it will be on the finance.
Okay, so but is that going to be a priority for that committee?
Sure.
Okay.
One of the things was going to have at least monthly finance committee meetings.
Good.
Yeah, we're going to start using the committees more. So
Well,
we can stay a little more informed.
But to get an explanation of how we got to where we are, that they're asking, I mean, who's the person that's on the finance committee? Because, I mean, I'm just stepping in here and I'm wondering why someone's not saying something that how we got to this point. Because if you're at a deficit, I don't see how you get back to $1 million in your general.
Well, it'll take several years to get back up there.
Well, I don't see how we're going to get revenue. I mean, I guess I'm missing something here because you're going to spend what you have coming in just to keep what you got going. So unless there's some extra on top of there or there's something that somebody's not talking about, how do you get back up to that point? I mean, we're dancing around the issue of how we got here, but really, I don't understand it.
I think that's why we.
And I'm a finance person.
You're more than welcome to apply for the committee, and that's what the committee is going to do. It's going to be made up of board members, community members, teachers, administration.
Well, I mean, we have
You're welcome
members.
to get on that.
Sir, you have members
Please
now.
apply.
I'm just asking, you know, for no one here is
Right.
asking.
We
you know,
want to
is
go
asking the
forward
same
from here,
question. They're
you know.
wondering why.
We don't want to get any farther or any worse than what we are.
I think the main question is nobody's answering
I
where
don't
the
think you
hole
can
is at in
you
the
can't
bucket.
really- you can't pinpoint it. I mean, I don't know how
I
you would
can
exactly.
pinpoint it in my own budget.
We can find
You gotta be able to
$400,000 very
pinpoint it.
easily that we spent that went over budget, like for buses and heating and diesel was so expensive 2 years ago.
Well, but that's
lot
what
more in
I think
snow
that's what your
Now, that's
community
correct.
is
Then we have
requesting.
Snow removal. I mean, just to say it was this.
How
You know,
often
the
do
list is going to be like this.
Sure, and then it should be
And
that,
that's
and
why
it
we
should be
need-
typed
that's
out
why, you
so
know,
the
let's get
community
this
members
committee
can see
together.
it.
Let's all look at
How
this
often
list.
was that
and, you
committee
know.
actually meeting, the finance committee? I mean, did it meet
No,
monthly?
there
Did it
never
meet-
was.
How often did it actually
didn't.
meet?
No, it didn't. That's what we want to
That's
get.
what we're trying to
We want to
change.
get
Well,
together
I was
and
just
do
wondering
this.
how often you guys like meet for that stuff or?
So really,
We want to start meeting once a month with these committees.
so I'm getting the gist here is that money just being spent, and until we got to the end to reconcile our checkbook, we realized that, hey, we don't have enough. Is that what I'm getting here?
Well, last year's budget.
We got to the end to reconcile, and we didn't know that we didn't have enough. I mean, if the stuff was there on the internet, or you could look
Yeah,
at
that's
what
all
the
public
budget
knowledge.
was.
Yeah.
And we knew we were spending out of fund equity to keep these programs going, to entice more students here with their school of choice. We knew that, and it didn't work.
You know?
Okay, so hindsight's really good that we can go back and say, well, we shouldn't have done that.
But why did you do it for 2 years? Why didn't you stop after the first year of
Yeah.
loss? Why did you continue on with the program that wasn't working? Because you didn't get a report from the finance committee that wasn't meeting? Is that what was going on? To tell you that, hey, you're spending money that you don't have again for another year.
It told you only had 1 year left. It did that. I
And it
mean,
got to the point where we couldn't do it anymore, didn't it? So now we're changing things. we're trying to look for another plan that might work. And you guys are more than willing to help. Or you can stand there and throw stones about what the plan that we did.
No, it's not about stones, it's about a mutual solution through the truth.
Okay.
But the thing I don't understand is your projected, preliminary projection, you had a loss of $445,000 in 14, and you kicked it up to $550,000 the next year. I mean, hello? Well, another $100,000. I mean, at some point in time, that 400, again, I want to state, I was looking at those numbers, those audit reports, and you weren't taking money out of that fund. The auditors were, for at least 2 or 3 years before that, I don't know, I didn't go back through them all, but it was staying where it needed to stay, and you were making cuts that were intelligent cuts, even though I didn't agree with them, but I agreed with the fact you had to keep school open, and suddenly you lose 445 and you don't go, oh, well, we're just going to project 540,000 next year, is what it appears to me. That's where there's some kind of logic that's not right here. There was a reason why you continued on that path when it was basically, it was clear. The numbers were there. They're red if you look at the spreadsheets that, John, you give everybody budgets, right? I mean, they were there. You had to prove the budget. Do you have a balanced budget right now that's not a deficit budget for this year, coming year?
That is not a deficit?
Yeah, I don't think you can pass a deficit budget.
As long as you have your fund equity to cover it.
For the year?
For the year.
That's a lot of money getting pulled out.
I can.
Well, it doesn't, to me it doesn't, because still, if we stayed on this path and we don't have 2016 or 2015, 2016, even though we projected to operate at a loss, there was no projected increase in income, revenue to even cover that. So, I mean, a finance committee could meet, but how, you know, unless you find a way to bring some money into the city of Lawrence, I don't know how you're going to reconcile those two things to cover that huge deficit.
Well, if you can't increase the income, you decrease the expenses.
It's a lot of expenditures got to go down.
That's huge.
Could be. That's where the
But
finance committee
why
will look.
didn't you do it the year before? You can do it now. That's where I was confused, because I was really getting into scary territory when you're dropping down under 200 grand.
Okay, Gene. Is
Just
anybody
saying you
else
passed
got
it.
any comments?
And the auditor sold it.
How many board members are certified to the state? How many board members are certified to the state?
Certified?
Yeah, certified board members.
You gotta take a lot of classes to get to that.
So,
point.
I don't think any
No
of
one
us have
is?
made it all the way through yet.
No one.
I think the last
Everybody understands that standard governmental accounting principles, you have to have a 20% fund balance to carry forward every year? No. Okay. That's well known for the government.
So does your account, who does your payrolls and all that stuff, does she do, or he, do a once a month audit, like financially, like your checkbook, and know what everything's going on, your T's and your I's dotted and your T's crossed?
Does the monthly bank statement.
I mean, can you share that with us? I mean, and make copies of it, so we all know each month what's going out of the school. So then we all know what's going on. So then we can say, hey, we can cut here or we can cut there or something like that. Because I think maybe that's what everybody wants to see is a spreadsheet once a month of financially where is the money going. Unless someone is pocketing it.
And that door over there.
I hate saying it that way, but
Young lady right there.
I think anybody's pocket.
We get audited every year.
yeah, but you should audit yourself once a month instead of waiting for a year. You should do it every month, knowing where your money is going every month or
John just said that
every
they
2
do
weeks.
this. So, you're not waiting for 1 2 years.
So if somebody becomes a board member, they have to go through this certification process, but you all have not completely gone through the classes that Ms. Gendron talked about. No, I'm just saying that if the.
There's
what
classes
Mr.
offered to any board member through MASB if they so choose to take them, but it's not a requirement.
Okay.
It would,
I think the last time that we had certified was Eunice Cochran back in the 90s. Or Cordy. Back in the 90s.
I mean, in the letter that was sent out, it references that increased board knowledge and application of Michigan school law. So, I mean, did we miss something in this process that we're going to say this? Because, I mean, you can put together a committee of people to be part of finance, but still they have to know 100%. It's not just some of us coming together and brainstorming. And something has to be laid out in front of them so you know how to go forward. Because I think things have been cut. I mean, I've only been here 3 years since I used to go here, and I know the coaches for the team are doing a lot, and parents are absorbing those costs. So what else could we cut to make up for a $500,000 deficit for 2 years in a row?
Our one thing we haven't been able to see yet is that there have been personnel cuts, unfortunately, this spring. So you're not going to see that back until we start again in September when we start paying out the new calendar.
Do you have a balanced budget passed? It has to be by the day, doesn't it?
No.
It doesn't have to be by the end of June?
End of June, yes.
Tomorrow, next day, yeah. Time's an illusion to me.
Preliminary projected goes 5,751,63 coming in as revenue. 5,813,288 in expenditures, which is excess of revenues deficiency of 61,650. And then we're moving the 198,524 over, it covers it. Projected 136,909 fund balance.
Yeah, I didn't get a copy of that. I wish I'd seen it. So, get an extra copy? Okay. Are you planning for student loss?
What?
Are you planning for student loss?
I know. I've budgeted.
Thank you.
Budgeted stable.
So you got wiggle room for a loss of hopefully 20? Wiggle room. A gain of 20 is what we want.
No, I know.
That loss of 44 a couple of years ago was incredible. It was a world's record. Again, that's why I was like, for you guys, it was, you had stabilized it and then boom. I don't know what happened, 2012, 2013, but wow.
Wasn't a good year. Anybody else got any other comments?
3 years, we've had good years.
Redo the bathrooms and bathrooms, I mean, could that have used up quite a bit of money and carpet and?
No, the bathrooms and the carpeting and all of that, not the banners,
Banners Alumni Association paid.
but that was with the sinking fund.
Any other comments? Consideration of approving the 2015 tax rate resolution.
Okay, we have,
Can I just say one more thing? I'm sorry, backtrack a little bit.
Okay, you could.
What I would like to say is, Pam Maya, and I teach on, my position has been reduced to part-time. Students were coming to me wanting to take a main class and see if it was available. I had to tell them no. I did go ahead and offer to administration to go ahead and teach just one class. He showed concern about that he would have to provide a plan period. I said I would waive off on that. You know, we've gone ahead, we've done the Fine Arts Club. I've done that, never been paid for it, because we like that. They have shared their concerns with me, although there's not a lot of support for the arts here. And they have expressed their worries about that. So I would like to have you guys take that into consideration with my nurse club. We have done Penn we have done, started variety show again. We put on a Halloween dance every year, and all the proceeds this year was the first year we were able to provide a $500 scholarship. So it's very worthwhile. And I just wanted to kind of
I think the arts have been targeted a lot because right now we got those trophy pieces up there, places to display the art that your classes do, and I think it's great. Sundays when we have open gyms here for the alumni, I don't play, so I usually walk the halls and look at your displays. I appreciate it. And I think it's a big improvement. I think some of the trophy pieces, it's a big improvement to move them down there and put the artwork in.
So,
I appreciate it, so.
So just a clarifying question, because your position was reduced, that means that you're not going to participate in any of those?
I'm going to try to. I haven't worked out time.
Okay.
You know, because I used to use my lunch period with the students to meet and plan everything for lunchtime. So I don't know exactly how long it's going to work. I told them I will try and work with my best. Thank you. You're welcome.
For the tax rate request, we are going to levy 17.9532 mils for non-homestead, and then we have 2 extra voted refinance in the tech bond. Good news is that it went down 4.3000 for the 2006 and 2.5000 for the 2008. Be less than 6.8 plus 17.952. It'd be less than the 24 that we normally do. Grand total of 23.7532 mils will be levied. Just need to have a motion to approve that.
Motion to approve the tax rate resolution.
Yes, support. A motion by Chuck, support by Mike. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion approved. Consideration approving year-end 2014-2015 school budget, short form.
That is the one that 214-215 final, showing revenues.
You got more?
No. I had the old one. I've given them all out.
Let me check.
Are these typically posted to the website?
You're talking 150 pages.
Or even just the summary page would be nice though later.
The summary page?
Yep. Is that what you're referencing right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't have one.
The office open?
Yeah, see that, Mike, when you're done.
Just has a deficit over revenues of 541,000. 255 with our fund balance coming over 732, our audited fund balance coming over, leaves us with 191,614 at year end.
Need a motion to approve this?
No, that's the year end.
No, that's actually your tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, 2016.
14.
Oh, 43. I'll make a motion that we approve proposed budget for 2015. 15, I'm sorry.
That's the final.
That's a final.
Have support? We have a motion by Mike, supported by Chuck. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carried. Consideration approving a resolution of the proposed budget for the 2015-2016 school year, the short form.
Proposed budget for the 15-16 school year. We're projecting revenues of $5,751,673, with expenditures of $5,813,88, which is efficiency of $61,615. We cut $480,000 with our fund balance of $198,524, leaves us with $136,909. It's a very bare bone budget.
And this is with how many students?
620.
But you figure we're basically going to stay the same?
You haven't handed your roundup yet, have you?
I did.
Mm-hmm.
Numbers, it was higher than last year. The issue is we had a lot coming through Roundup, school of choice wise, so that's an unknown whether they're, we had a lot who came through via IEP, but they're a Lawrence district, but parents are not interested in Lawrence kind of thing. They just are honest with school of choice because of an upcoming move or that kind of, so it's really, really hard to tell. Preliminary is higher than last year. Carmen, you know a number off the top of your head, 30, 35? Higher than last year.
That's true. But not necessarily the kids that came through, they don't all come.
Correct. And you'll, just like that, in a few weeks in August, you'll enroll some that you never knew about
Yeah,
either, so.
And you'll probably lose some.
And we lose some, seasonal.
Happens every year.
Well, we already did a couple. Okay. But it moved out, it already sits there.
John, could you repeat, I didn't hear the number, 623? Is that what you said, or 620?
623.
Thank you.
Students, 623.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Homeland Security, John, that was required.
The way it breaks it down.
Why is there a decrease in
Upside down.
Does the board have extra copies of this budget that you guys are looking over? Yeah.
What that is how much we spend on a little bit.
Why would we increase that?
It's just the way it comes out. Taking it away. They took away best practices money.
Why does this budget in front of us differ from what's online on the transparency documents on the website?
Because it was a best guess. I hadn't run all the numbers yet. I had to do a best guess for best practices funding. We put it together, put it on there, and then.
This is the trued up version. This is the verified trued up version.
Yes, this is it.
John, did you say that at the end of next year, the estimated balance is around $150,000?
136. Right?
136.
You want one of these?
So the money that you guys are going to pull from this year to cover, is there a plan to replace that money along with this, to stop this deficit?
That's what the finance committee will be looking at when they start meetings.
part of the finance committee's scope to build that fund balance back up? Because obviously,
the goal.
we don't want to repeat this year after year.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure it's part of, that's that committee's charter. Or at least a part of it.
Right. And hopefully we can work with the strategic planning committee.
Who would be in charge of trying to up enrollment? What, the strategic planning committee for that?
That's what we're thinking.
If we lose students next year, this year, next year, next year, there's no way to build that back up, is there?
That'd be pretty difficult.
Okay. We gotta get more students.
Yeah.
That's
Or
that's
more-
bottom line.
Or more state aid.
No.
That's not gonna happen.
Good luck.
Probably easier for more students.
The governor wants to keep it.
John, when is the schools of choice window? Can I just ask that real quick?
Goes in end of July, like the 24th of July. That's when the
Do all school districts have the same window, or is it just, okay? Because I know that Lawton posted a big old article in the flashes.
Yeah, that was nice.
Very nice recruiting students to their school, and just considering with the new, that might be something that we would want to do to, you know, whether it's in the flashes or wherever, to maybe draw some to put the positive of what's happening, because I think a lot of people are hearing the negative, and try to pull some of these kids in from other districts. And they already put it in the flashes, so that's why I was curious if it was going on right now or if it was coming up.
No, it's coming up. I mean, they're just.
Is it the cutoff end of July?
No,
that's where it starts.
It starts.
It's for 2 weeks.
Open after the end of July.
Yep.
So they've got 2 weeks.
Proactive. They're being proactive, is what I'm saying. Yes.
Okay.
We need to be proactive too, I think, with that. Oh, do you already have it?
Yeah.
You do now.
I brought it. Liz brought it. Freshman and I were talking about that when I brought it, and like weighing the benefit versus how much money they spent running a full page.
$7.50 to run that ad. Is that right?
$7.50. I'll pitch him for that. But if you take away, if you add $7.50 away from $7,000, that probably is a good amount of.
One student paid for that.
Well, and we were just chatting too, we typically run an inside full page or half page for school of choice notification. If we spice it up and put some pictures in there, even if they're black and white, that will help. You know, we need to look at how much that would cost.
You've got associations that would pitch in. I know alumni would probably be glad to help with that. So.
The information that was in Dwayne's letter at in the last Flying Tiger about the percent of students graduating from Lawrence and the percent that are going on to higher education, that type of data, I think, speaks volumes. And if that could be included, a few bullet points to promote the achievement that's already occurred here.
We give away more scholarships than many
There you
other
go.
schools.
That's
in
another one.
fact, Portage
Yeah.
Central gave out only 20. What was that, Dave? Remember? Anyway, it was just we pretty much outdid even Portage schools on our donations and scholarships and things. So things like that. Yeah.
Test scores are up to 2 keep.
Yes.
Test scores is way up.
Yeah.
And the ball field, I mean, that could be included in there.
Right.
Well, and
The athletic, the ball field.
Derek Rubler.
Yeah. Well, like Mrs. Jenren on Facebook about how